I think one of the big mistakes that a lot of guys make when they're turkey hunting is going to a gobbler or calling to that gobbler and going to him at the same time. What I mean by that? Well, we all know that gobblers will get pretty vocal on the limb when they're up in the roost at daylight. And they get pretty vocal because what they're doing, they're telling they're making sure they're telling their hens where they're all at. Once they fly down, they'll be with them hens. If he's got any, he'll be with them hens for 2 or 3 hours at the most, and many times up in the daytime. When everything gets settled down and quiet, them hens will start leaving him. And then the gobblers will be alone. So what happens is, as a hunter, we start running and gunning. We'll just walk from point to ridge or point to point or field to field edge and start calling, trying to strike that turkey up in the day, trying to get him aggressive.
What happens?
Well, we're out here and we're walking around 9, 10 o'clock, and all of a sudden we strike this turkey, and he's out here about 150 yards out through the, up on a ridge or out in the field edge or something. The worst thing you can do is to call constantly going to that turkey to keep him gobbling, so you can know exactly where he's at. What I mean is, let's say you hit him up here, you strike him, and then all of a sudden you're back here 200 yards. And let's say all of a sudden you're walking toward him and you go about 50 yards and you stop and call just to make sure he's still there, and he gobbles. And then you walk another 20 yards, 30 yards, you stop, you call. I know we like to hear him gobble, but really you're setting yourself up for a bad, probably a disaster, because what you're telling that gobbler is, I'm coming to you. The hen, he hears this, what he thinks is a hen back here yelping, and then all of a sudden that noise gets closer and he gets closer and he gets closer until it gets about 75, 80 yards. You set up and then you're trying to work him, and then he's hung up because he's like, well, she's interested in me. Why do you think a gobbler gobbles? Gobbler will gobble. He'll gobble because he's telling them hens where he's at. Oh, I love you. Come over here. Why do you think he struts out in the field? He's strutting to tell that lady, hey, I'm pretty, look at me. How many times have you been setting up, looking over a field, and you see a gobbler out here in the field strutting, gobbling? All of a sudden, as you're working him, here comes a hen out of the other side of the field and goes straight to him. Because that's what happens in nature. In nature, the hen always goes to the gobbler. So if you're back here calling, and then all of a sudden he hears that noise getting closer as you're trying to set up on him, you're telling him, that's right, you're telling him you're interested, and he just stay where he's at and I'll come to you. You're trying to reverse that. So here's how you get by that. 2 ways. One, go in silent. Just what I mean by that, just once he gobbles, just walk about 40, 50 yards and just stop. That's right, just stop and do this. And wait for him to gobble again. Once he gobbles, move a little bit closer. Even if you have to wait 10, 12, 15 minutes, just stay there. Just sit there. Don't say nothing and go in quiet. Get up about 70, 80 yards something, go in quiet, don't say a word. And once you set up, then you start calling. Then you start, your aggressive calling to him and work him on in. Or you get something like a crow call or a locator call to where you can keep him gobbling. You go 50, 60 yards and hit that crow call, and maybe he'll gobble. You go 20, 30 more yards, hit that crow call. Maybe don't use a hen sound, because again, you're telling him, I'm coming to you. That's not what you want. You want him to come to you, not you to go to him. So, and I've done that plenty of times. And back when I was younger and just starting turkey hunting, I'd do that. I'd call, and then call again, 40, 50 yards, and call again, and then what you're telling that turkey is, you're coming. You stay right where you're at, boy. I'm coming to you. And then I'd wonder why they'd hang up, and then it would come on them last 40, 50 yards. Well, that was why. So try that on your next turkey hunt. Don't call to him, go into him. Just set up on him quiet. Once you get set up, face mask, everything, then start calling him. I think that just might help you this coming turkey season.